Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, beautiful people, wherever you are. I'm downtown Amanda Brown, and I'm here with the founder of Conscious Inc., Frank Gatta. Frank, say hi.
Hi, everyone.
And we're here on our live podcast, Live Frank. And for those of you that haven't tuned in before, Frank has been doing some amazing things over the years, including creating unique tools to help support people to live their life authentically and frank, and have a good time along the way. Without further ado, we're going to jump into a concept that's so super important, probably one of the most important ones we could discuss, and that's self-love and how we treat ourselves. So Frank, without further ado, take it away.
Yes, thank you. This is the most important topic, and unfortunately one of the most overlooked topics of how we treat ourselves and how we're loving ourselves. We tend to focus outwardly in terms of noticing how we're treating others. We may feel like we treat others really well, and we may be bewildered at how that's not reciprocated toward us from others or the universe at large. However, let that be, let's use that awareness in our favor and actually take note, literally, of how we feel we're being treated in unloving ways. So we may feel, in our day-to-day experience, we may feel not heard. We may feel we're overlooked. We may feel that we're not being valued. So notice the self-talk and write down some of those recurring feelings and experiences that you notice. And then take one of them that has perhaps the most juice. And let's use that as an example. And for instance, if you don't feel heard, ask yourself how you may be treating yourself in the same way that you feel others are treating you. So if you're not feeling heard, look within and see how there may be times and ways that you don't listen to yourself. Maybe you didn't listen to an intuition that you have, or you override yourself, or you may have a knowing but didn't follow through.
Right.
So a lot of times we may not even be aware of how we're treating ourselves, and how our day-to-day may be filled with actions and behaviors that support not being heard, not being valued, whatever your experience is.
Right.
So it's a very powerful way to make a shift in this area. So that's the way to do it, is to look at how you're being treated and seeing how you're treating yourself in the same way.
That's amazing. I think everybody that's tuning in today can relate to this, and it probably resonates more powerfully than we can possibly imagine, because I know it is with me. Another thing I wanted you to touch on is something we've discussed before, is that as we're doing this work, there are things that are going to come up and feelings that we're going to feel that may be uncomfortable. And I know you and I have talked about how being aware of that as well and knowing what to anticipate is helpful so that you don't get discouraged or deterred. So talk to us about that.
Great point. Thanks for bringing that up. A lot of times we may not even notice that we're pushing away feelings. We might also have the experience of frustration of trying to change a behavior, but finding it futile and getting down on ourselves. So let's look at what's at work here. The reason why it can be so challenging to change a pattern that we've had for a long time. One, it's been ingrained within us for who knows how many years. But what happens is at a young age, we develop personas. We develop ways of being to stay safe, what feels secure, what actions bring us the most love. So for instance, somebody may learn that it's not safe to express their feelings, so they don't. Others may learn the only way to get their needs met is to become really loud and aggressive. So we'll implement any action behavior that works with us in our dynamic, growing up. And so what happens is, what gets wired is a certain way of being with survival. What feels like survival to the reptilian brain, which is very black and white. So acting a certain way will keep us alive. So if we decide that we want to now change this action or behavior, it will actually feel like we're going to die. To the reptilian brain, separating those will feel like death. So there's the reason. So I always employ or share with others, there's a very good reason why your system's trying to keep you alive, and it will feel like death if you make that change. So this is a great opportunity to instill compassion for yourself, and having this understanding hopefully will support you with what's really at work, and give you the fuel to move through, because you know that you're not going to die as an adult, even though it may feel that way.
So what happens then when we are feeling that way and we get discouraged? Is it just a matter of stopping, taking a deep breath, and just recommitting? We've talked about that before. Is it just as simple as that? Yes,
thank you. So when we notice the intense feelings come up, I just took a deep breath. So our breath is very useful in this way, because when we get scared, we tense up and we stop breathing.
Yeah.
So yes, and with more and more practice, it'll become a natural thing that we do. So if you notice intense feelings, take some deep breaths and allow the feelings to move through. Also, what's really important here is to be present and stay with yourself. So again, treating yourself as you would like others to treat you, or perhaps if you were supporting someone else during a hard time, act toward yourself in the same way. And some of those actions and behaviors are being present with yourself, staying with yourself, and just recommitting, and being gentle and compassionate. So the feelings that have been kept at bay for so long may be very intense. You may have strong feelings of anger, sadness, fear, whatever it is. You might be not even knowing where they're coming from, and it doesn't really matter. And so just be gentle, take some breaths, and if you can only take a second of it, that's fine.
Yeah.
You can continue on the next time that it comes up. So just be gentle. With practice, you'll be able to allow the feelings to move through, and then you'll be able to do that throughout your life, really, whenever you have feelings come up.
Okay, so then once we've done the work, as we're doing the work and we've recommitted, taken our breaths, and we keep going, what are some indicators that we're actually doing it right, or that we're successful at it?
Well, great. I think first and foremost is how you feel. So, as we talked about in a previous podcast, we get kinks of energy with anything that isn't allowed to move through. So, stored feelings in our bodies, things that we might not be speaking the truth. So, energetically, these literally take away our energy. So, what you might notice right away is, more energy. You may notice feeling good. You may notice shifts in your life. Eventually, if you can continue with this work, is that you may notice things magically or organically happen. So health issues, for instance, may disappear. You may notice changes in your life with the people in your life that maybe didn't treat you as well, literally change. And sometimes it can happen instantaneous. It might take a while, or they may disappear. Issues or challenges that you notice, whether it's in your work or whatever in your life, will start matching the energy that you're holding and the way that you're, again, loving and treating yourself. The world will reflect that. So, like we started this out, this is the most valuable place to spend our time, because it has such dramatic impact in our lives.
Yeah, and it starts with us. So, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Frank, thank you for that today. Such powerful, powerful information. We just invite you all to come back for our next podcast, and please don't forget to live frank. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you.